Contestant number 2, Dave Culton. I hear voices. I hear voices, Dave Culton.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and yes, I hear voices. I do. And my friends are worried. And I understand their concern, because as an orthopedic surgeon, if a patient comes to me and says, Dr. Culton, I hear voices, I know right away they don't have an orthopedic problem. Because if you hear voices, that's a symptom of a mental illness called schizophrenia. And if you hear voices and you answer those voices, you get the added diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia. So, if you hear voices, whatever you do, don't answer them. All my life, I have listened carefully to hear the voices. And it's important because my mom taught me the voices are what you need to hear. Growing up as a kid, I was a short, skinny, know-it-all kid who felt that he knew the answers to everybody's problems. I think that's why I became a doctor. But when I had a problem, I would run to the nearest person, the most compassionate, kindest, simple voice person in my family, my mom. And I would say, Mom, what should I do? And her answer was always the same. Dave, she would say lovingly, get over it. No, she would say, David, listen to those little inner voices. They will tell you the right thing to do. So, as a good son, I listened. And amazingly, whenever I listened, even though it was like the mute button was on, and I really didn't hear anything, when I listened, invariably, I would make the right decision. I remember when I was age 7 or 8, my best friend, Larry Redden, and I were standing in Harvey's bakery shop in downtown Dover, New Hampshire. It was a long time ago. It was noontime, and Mr. Harvey had just baked a new batch of fresh bread and cookies. And oh, the aroma of that new fresh bread was unbelievable. And those cookies all lined up in a row, they were just calling to us. And it was noontime, and we were hungry, and we didn't have any money, and there was no one else in the stores. Larry looked at me, I looked at him, we both had the same thought. Let's borrow some cookies. So I reached for the cookies, but I stopped, and I listened. And I said, Larry, I don't think we should do this. But it was too late. Larry had already grabbed a handful of cookies and was in the process of pushing them into his pocket. When Mr. Harvey walked around, caught him. Now, Mr. Harvey was a big, overweight man with a funny facial tic. We were really scared. But he turned out to be a very nice man. Sort of. And he said, I'm going to forgive you. I'm going to let you go this time. But you have to go home and tell your parents what happened. Well, that absolutely terrified me. Because although my dad was a hard-working, honest guy, he was very, very strict and very religious. Southern Baptist, the worst kind. And I knew he was going to be angry. And he was. And he punished me. Not because I stole the cookies. I didn't. But because I was thinking of stealing the cookies. That evening, lying in bed, even though I was punished, I felt really good about myself. I was proud. And I'm pretty sure my mom was too. My mom, not my dad, no. I think that now you know that those little voices inside me are part of my conscience. Everybody in the world has a conscience. It's that little inner guide consisting of the values placed there by your parents, your teachers, your pastor, priest, rabbi, your culture. It is your conscience that makes you a good person. And if you have no other goals in this life but to be a good person, that's enough. Really, that is enough. A few years ago, I had a tennis friend who's a brilliant nuclear physicist. Wonderful man. Kind, considerate, jovial, sort of fellow you wish your daughter had married. And he died prematurely at age 56. And I never will forget the words that he wrote, that were written for him on the funeral program. They went like this: all my life, I wanted to do something great for mankind. But all I seem to be able to do is to make people smile. Be a good person. It's the most important thing that you can do in this life. Do you hear voices? I do. And those voices guide my life. And they make me the best person that I could possibly be. Better today than I was yesterday. Yes, I hear voices.